Hi everybody, Ryan back again here today. So went down to Canton yesterday, picked up a lot of dollars in parts here, getting ready to do this transmission and clutch job in the T660 before we get it on the market here. Like I said, I'm going to do all this stuff and I'll put a set of kingpins in it and a couple other little things, and hopefully I'll have all that done next week here depending on my other workloads around with everything else. And I'm hoping to get that guy up for sale here in the next 2 weeks or so, roughly. So I wanted to do a short video here, kind of pre-installation before we start all this job. I had 7 things, made a list of items that if whether you're doing a clutch or transmission for the first time, or you're going to a shop and having it done, there's 7 items that people don't think about that you should probably make a list of. I mean, if you're going into a shop for the first time and you're getting a transmission or a clutch put in, these are some things you can talk to the service people about that you ask about or want done additionally. That can save you a lot of trouble and money down the line. So I'm going to start with the engine side. And what I mean by that is, like I said, we're going to start from the engine and go back towards the end of the tail output shaft of the transmission as far as sequence of everything. So first thing that I would recommend, like I said, you're going to pull the transmission out, you're going to pull the clutch out, and I would pull the flywheel off. I mean, a lot of people, some places won't. So you take the flywheel off, and that'll give you access to the rear main seal. These are $90, that's all this costs. And this is a kit, it comes with the seal and the installation ring here to put it in, so, or depth gauge installation ring. So like I said, this is only 90 bucks at Kenworth. I mean, you might be able to get the part number and you might be able to find it cheaper somewhere else, but like I said, $90 ain't too bad, I mean, in today's world. So that's that. And the reason I would replace that, because with that seal, you put a new clutch or new transmission in and clutch, if this seal starts leaking, it's going to go all over your clutch. You're going to have, it can leak, they can start leaking pretty bad. And I mean, it can ruin your clutch as well. So for $90, when you're already, you know, like I said, this transmission was $2,400, clutch kit was $775, and I'll talk about this clutch kit in a minute. So I mean, then if you're in, you know, $2,000 of labor or something, or even more at some places, you know, to have it all done again for a $90 part really isn't worth it. So put that on your list, and like I said, if you're already in there, get it replaced. The second thing I don't have here in front of me, but we'll show this later in future videos once I get into this job, is the flywheel itself. So the flywheel, if it's got hot spots in it, where that clutch is, where you spun the clutch and it'll get hot and it looks like it'll be blued or it'll be scarred and you can see those spots. I got a place down here in Cleveland, or Valley View, called Premier Truck. They do a little bit of everything down there and they got parts and all that. They actually got an exchange program where I can take the flywheel down. I mean, some places they'll take them and they'll mill them down and resurface it. Or this place that I deal with, you just take it down and swap it out, and they give you another one for your truck. So, and it's not very much. It's $100 or $200 or something, depending on like I said, it's relatively cheap to get that done. But once I get that transmission and clutch off of there, we'll take a look at that flywheel. Like I said, because I'm going to take it off anyways, since I'm putting this rear main seal in. So like I said, keep that in mind as well. Like when you're going in, if you're ordering this job up, you know, tell them I want to know what the flywheel looks like, if it needs surfaced or if it needs you know, swapped out. Let's do that as well, because it's not that expensive. All right. Second thing, pilot bearing. The pilot bearing doesn't come with the clutch kit. Pilot bearing actually goes into the flywheel, and then on the end of the input shaft of the transmission. So it goes right there, and this is what sets into the flywheel. So these aren't very much either. I think this was $20 or $30, so not too expensive. So I would just get that. Most people will replace them. Most reputable or, you know, knowledgeable shops, mechanics, they'll go ahead and replace this anyways. So get that done as well. What else? Clutch brake. Third thing or fourth thing here would be the clutch brake. And the reason I'm talking about this is actually, there's 2 different types. I'm going to open this and show you. Okay, this is a removable clutch brake. So there's 2 different types. There's one of these that's solid, And once you put it on this, it goes on the input shaft before you put the clutch pack in. So if you got a solid one, once you put that on, if this goes bad, you'd have to pull the transmission, or there is a tool that you can actually put up in there, and you beat on it with a hammer, and it actually split. It basically cut the old one in half. But those tools are kind of expensive. Not everybody has them. So I mean, depending on where you're at, you may have to have the transmission pulled to actually. These are $25. So, and these split ones are actually cheaper than the solid ones. So for the price, I would always recommend just putting one of these in. That way, if you ever have trouble with it, and this is what actually, when you push your clutch all the way to the floor, when you're at a stop sign or something, this is actually what stops the input shaft here. So that way you can put the truck into gear. So when your clutch can be out of adjustment for one, but when this goes bad, it won't, when all this facing's worn off of here, it won't stop the input shaft. So that's when you got to grind it and everything else to get it into gear. I mean, unless your clutch is out of adjustment. But yeah, so if this goes bad, it can be kind of a big deal for a $25 part. So like I said, I recommend using the split one like this, or they call it a quick change. Like I said, it's easy removal if you got to replace it. So, and then if you do have the solid one and they have to cut it out, this is what they'll put back in it, obviously, if you do it without pulling the transmission. So I would ask for like I said, if you're doing this job, just ask for a quick change. It'll make life a lot simpler if you do have issues with it down the line. So where are we at here? The fifth thing here would be the clutch kit itself. There are a couple different kits. I got this from Kenworth, and I highly recommend, or I wouldn't recommend anything else, but get a manual adjust clutch. There are the self-adjusting ones, but from my experience and what I've heard, they adjust themselves a couple times by themselves, and then they just stop working anymore. I think they're a little bit cheaper than the manual ones, but I mean, some other people might have different opinions, but don't put an automatic adjusting clutch in your truck. Don't do it. I got a guy that called me yesterday. He had one Freightliner put it in his truck, and now he wants me to put one of these back in it now, and it's going to cost him. I mean, I'm about $600-700. I can pull it and put it in a day, so I'm looking at about $600-700 in labor to get that pulled out, plus the price of the clutch. So just put a manual adjusting clutch in it and be done with it. And the other thing is to make sure that you get the proper rated clutch, like this one here, rated for 1850 foot-pound of torque. So whatever your torque is, make sure it winds, whatever your engine's rated at, torque rated, you want to make sure you have the proper clutch. So we'll take a look in here. And what I mean by manual adjustment clutch, this is flipped over right now, and I'm not going to pull this out, so I'll just show you in the little book here that they give you. On the manual adjusting clutch, on the front of this pressure plate down here, there's actually a little adjuster. I believe it's a 3/4 inch. You put a 3/4 wrench or socket on it to adjust the clutch. And we'll go through all that. I'll show you guys how to adjust the clutch and all that farther down the line here once we start doing this job. But this is actually the adjuster right here. And in some cases, actually, the adjusters, if they go bad, they can actually be replaced also. So that's what I mean by a manual adjusting clutch, is that you can physically go in there and adjust it. Like I said, the self-adjusting ones, you can't adjust them. So, and once it's bad, it's bad. So all clutches are not the same. Just make sure you get a good one. And like I said, manual adjustment is what you want. So, and this I got this actually at Kenworth, and actually they're about the cheapest gig in town, $775 plus tax on this guy. And this is an Eaton. I mean, it says Packard, but it's manufactured. It's Eaton. So I actually priced them down at Napa, which I get a pretty competitive discount down there. And he said even at employee discount down there, he could only get it down to $950. So like I said, Kenworth was about the best deal in town. And even some of the other aftermarket places, they're still right around the $700 to $800 range for this particular clutch. Get this guy shut. All right, the sixth thing here is your input shaft. this input shaft looks like it's been replaced. So you're going to want to check this for wear right here where the pilot bearing goes on the splines. And it should have a little bit of play like that. So then your grooves, these grooves here are actually where that clutch brake goes into to stop that. When you push that clutch all the way down to stop that input shaft so you can get the truck into gear. So I would always have them check out this input shaft here because I've seen these broken before. So just like I said, check the grooves and everything for wear. You know, wear here on the smooth surface where your throw out bearing and all that rides at. So that's just something else to keep in mind. Then the last thing I was going to talk about, I mean, transmission. I mean, this is like I said, I bought this from Edelman's down in Canton, $2,400, 10-speed, you know, an FRO 16210C, and like I said, it's got a 1-year warranty and all that. So I mean, it is what it is. The last thing that's a cheap item, why you got it out or why you're down there, is the speed sensor that goes back here on the tail shaft. It actually either goes here or here, either one just slides in. These aren't very much, they're like 50 bucks. And the pigtail as well, because these little connections, they can get bad, you know, in the salt and bad weather and all that. And I think this was only, like I said, $25 or something. So I think it was like 75. I bought these out in South Dakota when I was out there a while back and just never put them in since it was a hassle. It's a lot easier to put it in. I mean, they're not a big deal to put in, but it's easier to put it in when the transmission's out. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in now. And the reason you want to replace that sensor is you can have a lot of issues that you wouldn't think would be an issue with that sensor, like parked regens. If that sensor starts going bad and it thinks you're moving, your truck won't do a parked regen. If like on my truck, it was doing it in the wintertime, it was thinking that I was trying to do a forced parked regen, and it was thinking that the truck was moving, so it kept kicking my regens out. It just stopped the regen because of that sensor. And then if the truck could get derated if it needs to do a regen and it's not letting you do the parked regens. And that can cause you a lot of other problems down the line just because of that little $50 sensor. So replace that as well, why you got it out. So those are just 7 things that came to mind, you know, when I'm getting set up to do this job. I said those are just a couple items that why I'm already in there, might as well do it, because I mean, it's not that much. Like I said, you had the main seal is 90 bucks. I mean, you know, you might be looking at $200 or $300 extra stuff that aren't going to cost you any more to get. I mean, it's already out, it's already being done, so it's not going to cost you any more really to do it. Where if these items do go bad, it could cost you hundreds or thousands of dollars to take care of these little items also. So the only other thing, this is the reverse sensor here, to where your reverse switch, reverse sensor, that's where it knows when your truck is in reverse that the reverse lights come on. So that's something else you might want to replace also. So I guess there's technically 8 things, but yeah, so that's something else to check out. But that's pretty much it, guys. So hopefully, I don't know, it might not be the next video. I don't know what we got going on this week, but next I'm going to start on this job here this weekend or next week, and I'm going to show you guys how to do a transmission and clutch, and how I can do a transmission virtually anywhere, on gravel, on dirt, or whatever, and by myself. I got all the stuff. So I'm going to show you in one of the coming videos how you can change a clutch anywhere, and with the proper tools set up, you can do a clutch, like I said, virtually on any surface by yourself. So so that's pretty much it with that. So if you haven't subscribed, please do that. Hit the bell for the updates, like the video, and like I said, we got some bigger jobs coming down the line here, so we'll be getting that stuff out. And as you guys know, on this channel, we're kind of going more to the truck repair, truck maintenance, heavy equipment maintenance, and all that stuff. I mean, I still got some trucking business videos on my list to get out, even though I'm not driving anymore. So I always like to throw that disclaimer out there. I mean, like I said, I'm selling my truck off the road, so I don't like to give the impression that I am still driving. So but yeah, like I said, we got a buying used truck versus new truck coming out soon, and a couple other business type videos that I just never got the information, just never had time to get them together. So we'll get those out to you guys here in the coming weeks also. So Like I said, if you guys are interested in farm stuff also, we moved all our farming stuff to another channel, which we always post the link to that in the descriptions for these videos. And so you guys, if you're interested in old tractors or animals, chickens, hay, growing stuff, I mean, we're up to, picked up some more ground, so I mean, with everything, we're pushing 75, 80 acres now roughly, so always stuff coming around, always stuff going on with that. So again, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.